Hello, this is Dr. Krzysztof Kowalski, Poland's most well-known plastic surgeon, and I'm here with Joanna Jedrzejczyk. Miss Jedrzejczyk, you decided to go with the C cup, or we're going with the full double D rack?
Really?
There's rumors, Rain. We need to address them.
Oh my God! So we still haven't confirmed this.
It remains a mystery.
See, I was looking at her Instagram, and I don't know. I think it's just a really good bra.
I do too. And okay, well, formal introduction. Hello, this is Juice, as you all know. Episode 10 of the iFox with Juice podcast. Here with my co-host Rina, as always. We're just jumping straight into this. Yes, there's rumors that Joanna Jedrzejczyk got a boob job, and it seems like it's just MMA Twitter nerds who have way too much time on their hands. I think I'm with you, Reen. It seems like it's just a good push-up bra. And I actually started looking a little... I guess I got too into it too. I started looking at some stuff earlier, and it does seem like it seems like people think that she just did it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. But I'm seeing some pictures from like November, October, September, and there's some pictures where she looks a little bit more quote unquote endowed than in others. So I think it's just some clothes or a bra or just lighting. I don't know. I don't know. It seems like people are just like scoping this shit out now. That like, who's the next one to get a boob job?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine her doing that because she talked about maybe settling down, right, and having kids and stuff.
Well, last I heard, I think she was still engaged, but I haven't been Joanna's biggest fan for like the past year or two, ever since the first Rose fight and some of her comments about her being mentally unstable and then her just acting delusional afterwards. But even though I may not be the biggest fan, I still loved and respected her for having that interview back in the day. I think it was before 205. Like, I'm just good fighter, and I don't have big boobies. I'm not, I'm not the prettiest girl. Like, she was hilarious, but like, it was cool that she was saying that. Like, I want to do my fighting. I want to let my fighting do the talking. I don't just want to be here, taking pictures of my ass or whatever.
Yeah. So for her to turn around and get a boob job. Yeah, I think it's just a good bra.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, this is all just dumb rumors, just people stirring shit up. I think, but it is a fun thing.
Because like, how do we not know she went in to see a plastic surgeon because of, I don't know, she's having issues with her nose?
Yeah, I think people forget that plastic surgeons aren't there just to make your boobs and ass bigger. They actually have functional, important jobs, things that could actually help people's lives, not just for aesthetic reasons and shallow reasons.
Right. So, and especially, wouldn't that hinder her performance? I would think, because she would have like some boobies in her way.
Well, she's such a, she's not small, she's not short. She's not tiny, but she's so skinny. She's so, she just doesn't, I think it just look weird on her. She doesn't have like that curvy frame. I think she'd just look odd. This is the only, I know there was rumors we got Dahlia. I'm still not sure if those are even real. I don't know what happened with that. I know that probably could have been a similar thing, but thinking of someone like the only two that we know for sure, Pearl Gonzalez and Rachel Austin, well, Paige Van Zandt too, but more Pearl and Rachel. They're kind of curvy as they are. It kind of suits them. So, plastic surgery is not my thing. I've kind of commented about this before. I know it shocked some people. I'm not with it. Even someone as beautiful as Rachel Ostovich, I thought she was way hotter without the plastic surgery. That's just my take. I'm not a fan, but I just think you should go with something that fits your frame. And I don't know. There's really not much to talk about here. I thought it'd be funny to just storm out the gate with that.
Dude, that was so funny. I didn't know what to say. I'm like, I'm going right in with this one.
Yeah, it was like, if you go all in with the Joanna impressions, big props to you, but I'm not going to hold that against you. I know that, you got caught cold there.
Yeah, I'm like, you've been doing that a lot lately.
Yeah, it's just to address some of the Twitter nerds that, come on, man. I think this is just because there's been, it's been a few weeks without fights. People are just getting depraved. Like, how can we talk about someone else have to get a boob job? It can't just be Paige and Rachel.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah. We need a fight soon. One's coming up, right?
One more week. Well, at least we have some news to talk about. I guess the most recent stuff is Jon Jones. Breaking news, people. He pissed clean.
Should he get a prize for this?
Well, it wasn't jet fuel. We give it a few more months. Maybe USADA can find some more shit. It's way more. Yeah, here's the thing. If I read this correctly, I think this was by the Athletic Commission. And last I heard, I thought USADA had way more. What do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Like way more detailed tests. You know, that they can find out way more. But yeah, it seems like it was the California State Athletic Commission. I don't know if it was in part. Well, hold on. Oh, both the United States Anti-Doping Agency and the California State Athletic Commission collected fight night samples. So I don't know if this is for both tests or just one, but Jesus, I really can't believe we're here talking about someone's negative drug test as if it's something out of the ordinary. But when it comes to Jon Jones, it is out of the ordinary.
Well, he should get a performance bonus then for this, right? Because finally there's no controversy surrounding him.
Just a medal, just like a 99-cent store medal that you give the boys on the soccer team.
It's just so insane to me. So he's clean now. When is he going to get tested again? And are we going to see this, fluctuation of picograms?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, because last I heard, from which they didn't say at first when he came to California, they were unaware of it, with that he had some fishy tests going back to like September and August. There was tests here and there that were out of the ordinary, but they never brought it up. And then in October he looked good, and then I think part of November he looked good. So, I mean, who the hell knows? This is just so sad. That again, I think it's also that we're deprived here too. I understand why people reported it, just because our expectations are so low. But this is something I brought up on Twitter today. Like, as I've kind of said before, I was never the biggest Cyborg fan, and my biggest reason before was because of her steroid use. I was like vehemently anti-steroids back when. That's not too much anymore, more or less, but not as much. But you got to give Cyborg props. She's never tested positive after that, and she was like in voluntary testing and state required testing before it was even a thing. She was one of the first ones. She's never pissed hot after that. And we're not here praising Cyborg for testing clean all these years. I mean, she just did what she had to do. Presumably that she's clean, because how many tests she's had, I don't think they can all be wrong. But something always comes up with Jones. Like, I don't know. Well, he's supposed to have a fight scheduled in March now against Anthony Smith at UFC 235, but then he's still got his licensing issues. So there's
so there's still a licensing issue even though they scheduled that fight.
Yeah, and it's gonna be in Vegas. I mean, he was. What was now that I think about it, how did he not have a fight? How did he not have a license in Vegas? When it was a week out for 232. That's actually a good point. Damn, was it that? Jesus, was that much weird shit going on with that? I don't know, or maybe that's a common practice. I don't know. Maybe I haven't looked enough into this, but
the whole thing is weird because December 8th or whatever, that first week in December, they were aware of all this, and he went to California, right, to settle all this.
Yeah, because they're the ones that tested him,
right,
in 2017 for the 214 fight.
Right, and then they asked him to go ahead and get under their testing or whatever, and he refused to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it was voluntary, and you know what? Even at the time, this is before the whole picogram bullshit blew up. But at that time, I wasn't mad, because I was like, well, it's not required. They're just suggesting it, and Jon Jones doesn't have a good history with testing, drug testing agencies, so it's probably not in his best interest. I wasn't even mad at him for that, because even if whatever, it was coke again or weed, or it's like people are just gonna have a negative opinion of him anyway. Oh, he's a fucking junkie. All he does is smoke weed and do coke and do steroids or whatever it could have been. It wasn't in his best interest. But yeah, I mean, California hasn't been looking good. I guess they think this. I see some people saying that this is proof that he was never doing anything. But I love that a lot of people kind of went with the side that, oh, we don't know we're not scientists, we're not chemists, we don't know what we're looking at here, so don't just assume he's cheating just because of his history or just because you see something that you don't understand. But it's like, well, how can you say otherwise? How can you be like, oh, I don't understand, so he's for sure clean?
Wow. And you know what? They've criticized Chris Cyborg for so long. You know what I mean? She tested positive once, and she continues to be criticized till this day that
Yeah.
she's on it. Oh, it's always going to be in her system. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, it is different because she's a woman. It seems like from what I've seen that it does affect women differently since they don't produce testosterone like men. So it kind of like that's what I've heard. I don't know how. The other thing is too. I mean, the way she looks is like people already make fun of her for her looks, but
Yeah.
I do wonder. I mean, let's be real here. Yeah, she only tested positive once. She fought a lot of her career in the early days in Brazil. Where there's really no rules. So who knows how long she was doing it. I know that when she tested positive, that wasn't the first time she ever used a steroid. I'm quite confident of that, but it's a question of what effect did it have and how long was it going on beforehand? Because I'm positive that she's clean now. You'd have to be an idiot to think that she's using now, but I guess it's
Yeah.
just a thing of like how much did that help her. But hey, give her props. She's talented. If you don't want to give her props for her talent, you can't get over the steroid thing. It's like you don't have to like her, you don't have to be a fan of hers, but you can give her respect for what she does in the cage. She's actually doing it with skill now. She's not just bulldozing girls, and girls have gotten much better too. She was aware enough to know that brawling style was only going to get her so far.
Yeah. Well, it just bothers me that with the advancement with technology and medicine and everything else, we can't really figure it out yet.
And this is what I was kind of saying when the whole thing happened with Jon Jones, the issue with him and moving the fight and all that. Like, especially that Cyborg was on the card. She was the co-main event, this big fight. If his test came back negative, I'm assuming they've tested most other people on the card. I'm assuming they definitely tested Cyborg, so we're not hearing anything of her negative test. I'm not sure if it came out positive, we'd hear something. But the thing with Cyborg is like, I know steroids don't all work the same or PEDs or whatever it may be, but if what they're saying is true that steroids affect women differently and she probably had prolonged use before she was ever caught, how come she's not getting caught with picograms of shit? Why is it just Jon Jones? And then even, for last month, before that fight, UFC 231, Brian Ortega, he did straight up, steroids. I don't know if it was the same one that Cyborg did, but it was like straight up illegal steroids. And he hasn't pissed hot since either. And there's no fishy issues. There's no picogram. Jon Jones is the only one. And that's why it's so hard to believe that he wasn't doing something. Because why is he the only one that's coming up with this issue? There's no way he's that unlucky. The unluckiest man ever. There's only two unlucky men. Jon Jones. There can't be a third. Dominic Cruz and Ian McCall. And that's because they're small. God just cursed them that way. Jon Jones is fucking big and athletic. He has all the gifts in the world. God wouldn't do that to him. It's odd. I don't. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is very odd. And yeah, we're talking about testing, but there's all these other factors too that follows Jon Jones, the legal issues and
Yep.
Not only did he get caught for this stuff like cocaine, and he used to be a party guy, right? Maybe he stopped now. Who knows what's going on in New Mexico? But there's always something with him.
You can't lie to Ariel Reen. He walked with Ariel. They took a stroll in the park. You can't lie in those interviews.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Could you look at Ariel Helwani in the face and lie to him, Reen?
Oh God, it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna be staring at that nose.
I'm sorry. I know everyone clowns on Ariel's nose. I just love that we have a guy in the most well-known reporter in MMA who is also Jewish. We always clown about his nose, and there's no accusations of anti-Semitism. I guess just because he clowns on it too. But man, I love that we can get away with this shit. Yeah, that's funny. No, I know Reen's not anti-Semitic or racist. It's just it's so cool that it's so funny that we get that leeway with one of the most well-known, recognized faces in the sport. So okay, so about this Jon Jones thing. So I don't know about the licensing. I don't know. I mean, I don't see any reason why he doesn't get licensed unless I think I think that that's scheduled for the end of the month about his license hearing. So I'm sure quite a few things can happen there, and if quite a few tests can come out. But obviously, barring all that, assuming everything's on board, do you think Nevada will give him shit for this?
I mean, at this point, it doesn't seem like it. I mean, they have all these third party, people testing it, not just WSADA verifying it. They have all these scientists, backing them up.
Do you think though? I mean, I don't really see the reason, but I guess crazier things have happened. Do you think they'll fine him, or I mean, I don't really know what else can they do. I mean, he didn't technically do anything wrong by the book, according to USADA and the UFC in California and stuff. But you think maybe just they'll try and find some kind of punishment for him for just because of his past?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I bet they lost them a lot of money.
That's also another. I know you can't technically do that. Like you're pissed at somebody, so you fine them or you punish them. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like it's something that would be applicable. That would make sense anyway. Maybe not applicable, but that it seems like it would work that way somehow.
Yeah, well, I mean, fight capital of the world. They had to move an entire card because of this whole issue. Now it sounds like it's being, cleared up. Have the fight in Las Vegas, and that's that. It's going to be the second, pay-per-view for ESPN as well, right? So,
Yeah, because
so
there's nothing in January. So yeah, February, then March.
okay. So yeah, it's going to be a big deal. They have time, so I don't think he's going to get fined at all. They can't do anything. Everything happened in California, so.
Maybe at least they can just tell him something like, if you test positive in this state ever again, we're gonna, drop the hammer on you. Because I mean, he did test positive in Vegas once too. I mean, UFC 200 that was here, so that's the other thing is that he does have his history in the state with infractions, let's say.
That's true.
Yeah. So I mean, that was a while ago now. That's what going on 3 years now. So maybe they'll be more forgiving. I mean, they forgave Vitor Belfort for literally leaving the country to fight when he was suspended, and they just gave him a license willy-nilly because he cried, and yet they wanted to hang Nick Diaz for smoking weed, so who the hell knows? I know there's different people in the commission now and stuff, but that's all, man, this bureaucratic bullshit that, it's technically government stuff, but it shouldn't even matter. I mean, people may not know this, but athletic commissioners are supposed to be like the DMV. They're not like this big body of the government. There's just like a few people working there. It's like 5 or 10 people at most, but they're in charge of this wacky sport we love.
Yeah, try to talk down to them and tell them what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are naughty. Okay, man.
Well, but so if all this goes according to plan, looks like he's scheduled to fight Anthony Smith at 235, beginning of March, main event. I mean, I think I read that Jones is opening up like as a 7-1 favorite to Anthony Smith.
Damn.
I mean, really, is there any? I mean, I think that's justified.
Yeah, but wow. So are they just feeding Anthony Smith to him?
Well, I mean, I think he is the rightful contender. I mean, I think there's a good reason to say that he was probably more deserving than Gustafsson in the first place. Gustafsson obviously got it because, yeah, I mean, he had an impressive win 2 years ago, even before John came back. But, obviously they were selling that rematch that people were enticed because of the angle of how good their first fight was. But, I mean, I think Anthony Smith is the rightful light heavyweight contender. But, I mean, too much too soon, I guess. I don't know. I think it'll be fun. I think he's gonna go out on his shield. I think he'll brawl as much as he needs to. I don't think he's. I think I'll be excited for the fight because he doesn't seem like the guy who's just gonna stay on the outside and try and counter punch him and stuff. It seems like if he's gonna go in there, he knows that his chance is to go in there and try and hit him with the most powerful shit he could and hope he gets him out of there. Gets him out of there early,
Yeah, I'm hoping he would just brawl.
Yeah, because I
gun
mean, I
poison.
don't think I don't think he has that kind of cardio to go 5 rounds with Jones, and then I mean, I don't think he's gonna have formulate some kind of game plan of sticking and moving and taking him down. And I mean, he's not that kind of athlete. Aside from the power, he's not. He doesn't have much going on. So I think it'll be a fun fight, and I think a crazy finish will happen, even if it is on Anthony Smith's end. If he somehow pulls off the upset, it would have to be a miraculous knockout because he's not going to outpoint him for 5 rounds.
No, definitely not. Dude, I'm looking at this light heavyweight rankings, and DC's still on here. He's the number one contender.
That's odd, especially that he vacated the belt. I
Yeah.
mean, and his last fight was a heavyweight, and it seems like his next fight will be a heavyweight by all measures. I don't know yet. I don't know. You're talking about the UFC rankings, right?
Yeah, maybe they're trying to get DC to come back somehow and fight him next or something. I don't know, because I'm like looking at it and I'm like, there isn't much down the line. Thiago Santos will be an interesting fight.
Yeah, I think he needs one more win. I mean, Mano was good, but I think he needs to beat like a Corey Anderson.
They're actually tied. Corey
Yeah, I
Anderson,
mean,
Thiago.
that's the other thing. I mean, if Jon Jones does fight 3 times this year, as he says, I mean, it seems like those are the most logical contenders. He'll
Yeah.
take out Smith. He'll fight Santos or Anderson somewhere down the line, and then it seems like he wants DC to come back for some reason, which makes no sense. But who knows where DC's gonna be? I'm excited. I was never too excited for Jon Jones fight. Even in the beginning when we didn't know all this shit about him, I guess I just didn't like him too much for beating the shit out of Shogun or something. Being a cocky asshole at first, and then now we see that is the case. But I'm excited now. I mean, he's still a good fighter. He's still fun to watch. Anthony Smith is violent. You know, I hope it's more exciting than Gustafsson. I think if anything, if Anthony Smith took anything away from that fight, don't fight like Gustafsson. Don't try and be conservative and play the safe game because John isn't with that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, DC went at in the rematch. DC went at him hard early and had some success. He still lost in the end, but I mean, he was doing good the first 2 rounds. Maybe there's something to be taken from that.
Yeah, I can't lie. I mean, I'm cool with the quick turnaround. It's Jon Jones. I mean, despite all the controversy, I love watching him fight, honestly. So
I mean, he's so talented. You know, it's just the same as like what I said with Chris earlier. I mean, yeah, I'm not a fan of Jones as a person, but it's hard not to want to watch his fights. I mean, even with Cyborg, even when I hated her, I would watch her fight. I was usually like disturbed by the end of it, but I still watched, even though I knew what was going to happen, even though I knew it was going to be a little unsettling. So, but that's the main event. Looks like the co-main event's going to be Woodley versus Usman, which shocked some people because everyone thought Colby Covington was going to be the next fight for Woodley. I guess another shocking thing is that Woodley's actually coming back soon, which Dana and a lot of people were speculating that he was going to take like another year off. Seems like he's always got some lingering injuries or something. But what do you think of the matchup, Rina? And what do you think of Covington getting passed over?
yeah, I was surprised too because I thought they would probably go with the money fight, which is the Colby fight. I thought they would actually have that fight before this one, but I mean, I'm excited for it. It's going to be an interesting matchup. I think this is going to be like the biggest threat he's going to have because they kind of match each other, right? I mean, they're like physical specimens, both of them.
Well, do you really think that Colby would be the money matchup? I mean, I think he draws more eyes than Usman because people hate him and people want to see him lose. But what kind of a factor is that?
There isn't.
Especially Woodley, and people just don't seem fond of Woodley, and I don't think they ever will be. Like I mentioned today, I tweeted that Tyron Woodley is the Bernard Hopkins of MMA, and Bernard Hopkins in boxing. I think it's a good comparison because Bernard Hopkins, he had his losses, but when it came with the big time fighters, the time that people that he was supposed to lose to, he always whooped their ass in spectacular fashion. But he also had just really boring fights. And the thing with Bernard Hopkins is that he would take the fight away from the fight. He would take all possible routes to ensure safety, where he would be the safest and his opponent would be flustered and insecure. He just found that way. He had that methodical approach to where you couldn't mess with him like that. And it seems like Woodley's the same way. He can, like the finish of Till. I mean, a lot of people thought Till was going to beat him. Robbie Lawler, a lot of people thought he didn't have a chance. When it came to the big fights, he put on a show. But then Maya, he was a big favorite against Maya. He did nothing. The Wonder Boy rematch, like I guess he thought he did enough in the first fight and didn't think he had to do much in the second fight. Like he's a very smart guy. I may not always be. I've come to respect him about that. It's like, well, he fights this way because he's smart. But man, it's so annoying because when you see Justin Gaethje fight, yes, he's one of the most exciting guys ever. But you know what to expect from him. He's not gonna switch it up on you last minute, but you never know what to expect with Woodley. And I don't even mean that in a good way. And then, he's so unpredictable and he can catch you with anything. It's going to be a violent knockout, a violent finish, or it's just going to be 25 minutes of doing nothing. I think Usman is going to force him to do stuff. I think he can't be as laid back, but I just don't see how this is a good. I thought this was going to be a good matchup, but now I just think Usman's going to get knocked out.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, and I'm really I started thinking about it more, and honestly, I actually think that Colby is okay. So there's this weird triangle going on with them. I think Colby is a worse style matchup for Woodley. I don't know if he'd win, but I think he's a worse style matchup than Usman, mostly because of his cardio. But I don't know if Covington beats Usman. So I had this thing kind of like Usman beats Colby, but Colby has a better chance against Woodley than Usman does.
That's interesting. Okay.
It's kind of annoying because they're all wrestlers and
yeah.
they don't. No, I'm not hating because they're wrestlers. It's just like it's they have different, like, okay, Usman and Woodley, they're both powerful, dynamic wrestlers.
Yeah, explosive.
Yeah, black explosive, as Jack Slack says. But yeah, I mean they're great athletes, and Colby's not. But his pressure, I mean, is it's fun to hate on Colby, but his pressure's for real. I mean, it's not fun, and you're not gonna look good against Colby. You're not gonna look good against any of them, really. I mean, who's looked good against Woodley? Who's looked good? I mean, I guess the last person you say is Rory McDonald, but that was a long time ago. Usman, is he undefeated? I think, or if he has one loss, it was before he came in the UFC, and nobody ever talks about it. Covington hasn't lost in a long time either. I mean, they're just not guys you look good against, and I don't know. I feel like this is gonna be like 25 minutes of like wall install and them staring at each other. And if it's not that, it's gonna be like a quick first or second round knockout because Usman hits hard, and like I said, he's a good athlete, and striking's getting better. But I feel like if he can't take him down, he's just gonna get desperate with his striking, and he's just gonna like zombie forward with punches and just keep it, leave his hands down, keep his chin up, and he's gonna get caught with something. Woodley does have pretty good counters, so I think he can catch him. And if he catches him if he's that vulnerable, if he has his hands down and he's walking with his chin forward, which is common at his level of striking, I think he's gonna put him out.
Ooh, he might get put to sleep. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna dive into this deeper as it goes. I mean,
yeah,
it's just my gut feeling. I really want to dive in.
Makes sense, man.
Yeah, this is literally something that just came to me today. This thought of Colby being a worse matchup for Woodley than Usman, and what Usman's chances are. I don't know.
I wonder if that's the reason why they made this matchup. Then maybe that's what they're banking on. Then
well, I heard people.
Colby.
I heard people say that they made it because they're like, yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense financially or a commercial, in a commercial standpoint, but they're like, well, maybe because Dana hates Woodley so much, he picked Usman because it seems like Usman has a better chance of beating him, which obviously I don't agree with, but I understand why other people believe that. Maybe that's why.
Well, if it goes the other way, then there's still money to be made if they match up Colby. If Woodley were to keep his belt, so.
Yeah. Well, and they're saying that they want to match Covington with Darren Till in England. They have I think it's that same month. I think it's in March.
What? Really?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. This is just a rumor. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
who they've talked to, but I mean that, especially if it's over there in England. I mean, that'd be, Colby's gonna talk mad shit over there, and those are also some. They're not exactly Brazilian level, but there are some passionate fans out there. So if he's gonna go full out like he has before, then that'd be an interesting.
Yeah, and right now he's going crazy, yeah, with Dana and please release me and fuck you and this and that, right? They're having like a lover's quarrel right there, right? Like some issues right there. I haven't been really following all, but yeah, I heard some of the what is it, broadcast or what are the interviews or something? He just went on a rant.
Yeah, I forget I don't know if it was with Luke Thomas or Ariel, one of those Monday morning shows. I forgot who he was talking to, but so, they basically said that Dana's a bad person and doesn't keep promises. It's like, where the fuck have you been for the past 10 years?
Oh my God.
Like, what? I don't know. I'm literally speechless. It's like, how can you be so dense? How can you be just that dumb? Honestly, where have you been? What is?
That guy's a mess, man.
I mean, everyone from like prelim fighters to fucking GSP has said that Dana is, a fucking backstabber and that he's a liar and this and that. Like, why would it be different with you? Because you both like Trump? Yeah. I mockingly, I'm naming the show after Colby because I feel at the end of the day he still did get stiffed, but also like that. He got stiffed by Dana. He didn't keep his promise. Yeah, that interim title looks stupid, but he's still rocking it. He's still rocking it. He's still proud of it. He's still, I think the only interim champion that I can remember lately that we kind of honor with that, like, whatever, number one contender, second best in the division is Tony Ferguson, because he lost his title for no reason and nobody's beating him. Nobody has beaten him in years in that division, so we kind of do see him as like, Khabib is obviously the real champ, but Tony's up there. Everyone else is like, here today, gone tomorrow. But Covington is one of the most, that's one of the most embarrassing ways to go out. Like, didn't they try to strip him like a month or two after he won it, and then obviously he got passed over for Till. So this is now the second time he got passed over for a title shot.
Yeah, he's always going to be second.
Well, and there's just some great look. I honestly don't. I have a weird thing with Colby. I don't hate him. I know so many people genuinely hate him. I don't hate him, and that's the reason why I don't really have any sense of the guy. I honestly think I think it's all an act. And I don't mean like Conor McGregor, like it's bravado, or Floyd Mayweather, they act like assholes. Like I'm to the point where I don't even really know if he supports Trump. Like, I think some of the shit he says is bullshit. Like, he may not believe any of it. He just knows that it's gonna get on people's nerves. If the one day it would come out like he retires, he's like, yeah, I never even liked Trump. I just said it because I know it'd piss people off. It would not surprise me in the least bit. I'm also not surprised if he actually does support him, but that's a story for another day. But part of me feels like it's all an act, every single bit of it.
Yeah, well, he said that he's a personality now, and I don't need the UFC, so I think it is an act.
He doesn't need the.
Yeah, he said that. I heard that part at least, and I laughed. I'm like, he's a personality. All right, cool, man.
I mean, definitely is a personality. It's just not a very authentic one. I don't know. It's just people have this. I can't hate the guy because it just all seems fake to me. I can laugh at the guy. sure. I mean, Verdum still did throw a boomerang, and he did go to the cops. That actually did happen. That's that's funny as hell. But I wasn't reveling in it like some people are like, that's what that motherfucker deserves, you piece of shit, you fucking racist asshole. Like, I don't know, man. I don't care. Let him be. He may be an idiot, but he makes me laugh at least. For intentionally or unintentionally, either way, I appreciate it.
Well, he gives everybody good content, so.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Good content.
Thanks, Colby.
As I said, I think he should just go all in and go just an affirmative action angle that he got passed over. He got passed over because he said as much that he got passed over because of his conservative viewpoints, which is almost typical that right wing fucking victimization bullshit. They don't like me because of the things I say, but it makes me giggle that he got passed over for a black immigrant.
Oh my god.
I'm sure the few people that are Colby fans aren't fans of probably a lot of black people or immigrants. So good for Usman at least on that. But it oh man, I wonder if Colby's really is just fuming, if he's just been so pissed, or he really is just buying his own bullshit and oh, I don't need them. I'm gonna get my shot, and then the whole release me, Dana. You don't have the balls to release me. It's like you might, maybe it'll work out for you. Who knows? I'm interested. I'll follow the guy. I don't really care what happens to him. I don't care.
So funny. Yeah, just feed him the till.
That's all bullshit aside. I hope they do that, and that I don't see why Colby would take it. And he's basically said that he's not going to take any other fight, but that'd be a fun fight. Even if it's like the Dos Anjos fight, that's going to be interesting to see because Till's so big. It's not going to be, and then Colby's not a big welterweight either, so he's going to be at such a disadvantage. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, of how big Till is, how powerful he is, opposed to Colby's endurance and his pressure. Because he can just walk straight, he can just walk chin first into a fucking, to a left hand and, hit the canvas. But even if he just puts that pressure on him for 15 or 25 minutes, like, it's going to be impressive to see because I don't think a lot of people can do that to Till, especially that are way smaller than him. So I hope that happens. I'd definitely be interested in that just from a competitive standpoint. But moving on. So there's, as I said, we're all fiending for fights. Mr. TJ Dillashaw is fighting Cejudo next weekend. But there's been this a lot of hullabaloo of how he's looked lately. He looks very emaciated. He's had like some black eyes and shit, so he just looks beat the hell up. He looks like he just got out of rehab, honestly. Like, he does not look good in some of these pictures and videos, but has some people concerned that he's not going to make weight. Something might happen during fight week. I don't have these concerns. I think he'll make weight. Probably won't look good, but he'll make weight. I'm more concerned about how he's actually going to look during the fight. I don't think his cardio is going to be all there, but we were talking about this off air, Reen. You had an interesting theory that you think that he may be doing a pre-cut right now, and that's why he may be so thin.
Yeah, maybe he's just testing this weight, right? Because he's never dropped down to 125. So, I mean, he has some ninjas around him. Maybe that's what they're doing, just testing it out, training right now, see how he'll respond, see how his body will respond to it.
Yeah, it just troubles me if that is the case. I mean, obviously, we're just speculating, but that troubles me if that would be the case because it's so close to the fight. Things shut down. The body tends to retain fluids and fat. When you're starved like that or you're depleted, it's probably, if that is the case, it's probably not the smartest thing. But I always believed Dillashaw would make it because he said he's not a big bantamweight, and I don't know why he would lie about that. It seems like people always bragging like, "Oh man, I almost died making weight, but look at me, I did it." It's like almost like some weird honor thing that people can go through these brutal weight cuts, even though there's no need, or there's no need for them, and it doesn't make much sense to begin with. But I don't know. Then again, Cejudo's had trouble making weight too. Not lately, but he's missed weight a few times as well. So I wonder. I wonder. I have this question with Cejudo too because I think he's been motivated the past couple of years, especially after losing to DJ. Then obviously he ended up beating him in the rematch. But I kind of have this thing that he can get really motivated when times are rough after a loss, after performance that wasn't so good. Like you look at he lost to DJ and his next fight was Benavidez, and he lost that fight, but a lot of people thought he won. That was a robbery and a half. That was a great fight too. He just came balls to the wall at him. So that even though he lost that fight, that was also a good performance. And then his run up to the title again, he was doing good. So I think he's good when there's something at stake. But I don't know, maybe he just has this thing with him, like he already won, so maybe he might lose some motivation. That's just, I don't know, I guess it's just a feeling. I'm not really basing that on anything, but the guy's already reached the top with the Olympics, reached the top with the UFC belt. There could be a thing of like, what else is there to accomplish?
Right. Well, I'm looking at these pictures of Dillashaw, and his body looks kind of the same. It's just his face, and maybe with him, he just loses it more. Because some people are like that. You can really tell in their face that they lost weight, but if you look at their body, it's like there's really not that much of a difference.
I feel like
the other way around sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like Khabib is kind of like that. You see when he's cutting weight, he looks like a skeleton from like the neck up. But you look at his body, like he's clearly skinnier, but he doesn't look like he's on death's door, And then there's people like Conor when he would cut the featherweight when he was just skeleton from head to toe.
Oh yeah, that was really bad. Oh.
Yeah, maybe it's just. I mean, Conor is a big guy, but he wore it everywhere. And then there's fucking freaks like Anderson Silva and then Amanda Nunes is kind of in this camp too, where they cut weight and they always make weight, but they look the same from weigh-in day to fight day. I don't know how, there's people like that who it never shows on them. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's just the Brazilians, since it's Anderson and Nunes that I've noticed it with, but I don't know how they do it. I hope that means that their weight cut's easy. Just because they look a certain way doesn't mean it is, but
right.
It's crazy that they look the same right before the fight and during the fight. So yeah, I mean, who knows? He hasn't mentioned anything about this, and even if there is something wrong, of course he's not gonna say it. But I'm interested to know how this is gonna mess with the odds, people's predictions. I think this is as much a 50-50 fight as I've ever seen, especially in the last year or so. This is gonna be super close. But we'll delve into that more next week as we do the preview. Just an interesting observation, I guess. Speaking of weight and not making weight, our favorite fake Brazilian, Mackenzie Dern, is back in the news.
Fake Brazilian.
I'm sorry, Mackenzie. I know you're half Brazilian, but that accent, Jesus, girl. Okay, so if you couldn't tell, Mackenzie Dern drives me insane, and not in the oh my gosh, she's so hot way, and the god damn it, you need to get your shit together way. It's like a fucking teenager dealing with seeing all the shit she says and does. So she says that after consulting with doctors, God fucking knows why, after consulting with doctors, she's decided to stay at strawweight, a weight that she's blown multiple times, and a weight that she blew last time by, what was it, 8 pounds? There's no medical issues here. She's just not trying. And it seems like that's always been the case. It's so unprofessional. It's so unbecoming. It's so annoying and so infuriating because she's so talented. It's not just the jiu-jitsu. Her striking's not bad, but she has power. And more than everything, more than the power, more than she's game, she's not afraid to get hit in the face. And she almost seems like recharged sometimes. When people hit her, she just hits them back harder. And then, once she goes to the ground, people are in for some crazy shit. But I really don't get this. Can you make any sense of this, Rain? Maybe this is me as a guy, I'm not seeing something here. Can you provide any insight on this?
No, I don't understand it either. Like, who are you talking to? Doctors? What kind of doctors? Like nutritionists? Who? I mean, why would anybody say, yeah, go ahead when you've missed weight how many times?
At least twice, but I want to say 3 times.
Right? And how many times has she fought? 7? 6, 7?
Something like that, yeah.
So you missed weight 3 times out of 6, 7 fights? Like anybody will look at that and be like, no, I think that's not a good weight class for you. You should probably move up. Or maybe the Performance Institute will really help her and discipline her. I don't know, but it just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I'm gonna say it. She's a thick girl, right?
Yeah.
She's a big girl. She's thick in all areas. I just don't know why it's healthy. Why would you do this? It's not healthy to me.
I don't I don't know if she said this for sure or it was translated wrong or if she implied it, but I remember there was something about what was it that basically she doesn't want to look too skinny because guys don't like that, which as a man I appreciate that. But you got a job to do, girl, and you got to fucking make weight. You can look skinny and ugly and whatever you think for that day for 24 hours or less because you're gonna rehydrate. But I mean, are you that shallow? It's like I don't want guys to think I'm skinny. Like,
I hope
yeah,
that was lost in translation
I
somehow,
really, I
but
don't, yeah, I don't know if that was a rumor or just like some kind of misread tweet or something. I don't remember where that came from, but I heard people say that, and Jesus Christ.
well, I haven't really been stalking her Instagram or anything, but
Of course you have it.
I don't know. Does she train a lot?
Well, you remember what happened with her at the lab? Was
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they kicked her out basically. So like we can't deal with your bullshit of half-assing it and arriving late and God knows what else she was doing. Just I'm sure, just like the weight stuff, being unprofessional. But it's just so disheartening because she's such a great competitor, and I don't mean that just in MMA that she's a good fighter because she is, but she comes from a lifetime of jujitsu, and her dad's a jujitsu legend. Like she knows what it's like to be. She knows what it is to be a martial artist. She knows what it is to be respectful. She knows what it is to be a professional and arrive on weight. But something about when it comes to MMA, I guess she just doesn't give it the credit or something, or maybe she just doesn't care. Maybe she's just doing it for the money. Who the hell knows? Because definitely doesn't seem like she has a champion's mindset.
No, it doesn't. And just now I'm looking at it at her Instagram. Interesting. Yeah, she probably is more worried about the way she looks.
Well, I mean, she's no stranger to them Belfies, you know what I mean? But as I said, as a guy, I'm not upset. It's just, oh my god, just so infuriating.
Yeah, because she's taking a slot from another person that really wants to fight.
And the UFC pays her well. That's the other thing. She didn't come in on like some 10-10 jobber, you know, Dana White's Contender Series contract. Like she was getting paid well even in Invicta. They're hooking her up a bit, and it's like, oh, whatever. 2 pounds, 8 pounds. What's the fucking difference?
Yeah, I'm not trying to hate on the girl. I mean, it's just, there are fighters that really take this seriously. And I didn't even know she went and grabbed cupcakes that one time. You were
Yeah,
telling me about that.
yeah, that was the rumor. I think they said that there was a video of it, but from I think media there said too that after she quote unquote attempted to make weight and came in like 8 pounds overweight, she went straight for like the snack table and just started grubbing down. And that's another thing that I hope is not true, but that's from my memory. I remember that's what people were saying. So that's that was when she fought Amanda Bobby Cooper, and if I was her, man, it's it's such a shame she lost because I would have felt it's not just that I would have been glad that Mackenzie lost. It would have been like, hell yeah, get yours, girl. Fucking Cooper, like she fucked you over so bad. You deserve some revenge. But Cooper's nowhere near as talented or the athlete that Dern is. So shit just doesn't work out like that.
Mhm. Well, it sounds like they're trying to put a fight together, right, for her, sometime in March.
For Dern,
Yeah.
yeah, she said she wants to come back in March at some fight night event. They haven't said who it is, and then I mean, just because she says she's gonna stay here doesn't mean the UFC has to go with it too. I mean, I hope Dana's like, look, if you want to fight, I'll get you a fight, but it's gonna be at flyweight. If you want to be a strawweight, you can go somewhere else. But I don't think he's gonna be that harsh with her because as I'd said before, I think I tweeted this is like people make that joke of that phrase of that ass though. But that literally might be the reason she has a job in the UFC because who else would stand her if she didn't look the way she did and she didn't have the body that she did?
Right. And yeah, I think she would have been cut by now, right? All the missed weight cuts. I mean,
Yep.
so
I mean, good for her. I mean,
yeah,
she's pretty to look at, but Jesus, just
I was gonna say the same thing. Like more power to her.
if she had like that, like that. I go on. I know some people are baffled by how much I like Kate Hansen, but I love her work ethic. She's always doing something. She's always looking for fights. She's always calling somebody out. Like I love that she's letting her fighting do the talking, and I just love that about her that she's so young but she's wanting to grow. If she had like that work ethic combined with her looks, combined with her athleticism and her talent, Jesus, she'd be unstoppable. She'd be like Amanda Nunes, cyborg level, like unstoppable. But it just doesn't come to some people like that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Well,
Unfortunate.
yeah. Speaking of returns, Cain Velasquez is back from the dead. Well, they've announced this I think it's been at least a week or more that they announced that he's supposed to headline one of the ESPN events against Francis Ngannou. I almost don't want to talk about this because I feel there's still a lot of time between now and his actual return. A lot can happen, but I don't know. I guess I'm just bringing this up to speculate. Like, do you think he can even make it, Reen?
I'm surprised they did this. It's been how long since we've seen Cain?
Well, I mean, he has to fight sometime, and I mean, if he's healthy, we'll book him. But remember that there was that thing too. I think last year, I don't know if it was DC or Kane himself that said that like I've been wanting to fight for like a year, but the UFC wouldn't give me fights, which I don't think that's legal. They have to offer you fights. If you refuse, that's a different story. But they
Yeah,
have to offer you a certain amount of fights per year.
right.
So I never bought that. I'm assuming he's just been hurt this whole time, but this
Oh,
is a long fuck. I mean, I'm trying to remember what the longest one was before this. He's had a few, but I think the longest one was when he lost to Verdum. His the fight before that was when he fought Dos Santos the third time, 166, and he came back at 188. That was almost 2 years.
jeez, man.
Yeah, I think it was like 19. It was like 20 months, and this is gonna be a 30-month layoff from what I read. And I don't even remember how old he is. I want to say he's like 35 or older. I know it's heavyweight and they tend to age more gracefully, but with all those injuries, man, I don't know. I don't. It's. I'm not having fun talking about this because I was a big Velasquez fan. He was kind of one of the reasons of I started watching the sport, and churned. That kind of churned. I mean, it wasn't quick. Once I saw how injury prone he was like, why am I investing in this guy? He never fights. And just from that, I kind of just stopped being a fan. But I don't know. I mean, he was excellent back in the day. I think he still has the talent, but Ngannou's a whole another. I mean, they should, 5, 6, 7 years ago, it should have been the most easily winnable fight. But now, who the hell knows?
Right? Is his back truly okay? Because
On his, not just his back, his knees, or he had knee injuries, shoulder injuries.
oh man,
Yeah, I mean it can be anything at this point.
yeah.
Think about this, and Dominic Cruz just got hurt again, but Dominic Cruz has fought more recently than Cain Velasquez has.
Right.
Last time he fought, Brock Lesnar also fought.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think. Hope. I'm thinking. Should I even say this? I hope it's a quick knockout by Cain. Sorry.
You hope Cain gets knocked out, or you think he's gonna get knocked out?
Like a quick one, so he doesn't get hurt again. Like, oh man, I don't know. I don't know if I want to see him in the cage again.
That's definitely Ngannou's MO. Get the quick knockout, but I don't see anything of it. I mean, that's the thing. Like Blades, that was supposed to be an interesting fight, the Blades rematch, because he's such a good wrestler. But then he knocked him out in like a minute, so we didn't get to see anything of has he worked on his takedown defense. So the question that was there with Stipe is still there. Can he stop the takedown? Can he do anything other than hit really fucking hard? That still remains to be seen.
Well, let's see. When is he scheduled to fight?
It's in February. Let me see. I think I have the date here.
Okay. Then, yeah, we still have time to wonder if he'll make it. Gee, man. And then he's over here trying to call out Jon Jones.
Is he? Or is that's Luke Rockhold, no?
Cain wants Jon Jones fight after teammate DC retires 16 hours ago.
Oh, shit. Oh, okay.
He wants a red panty night.
February 17th is when it says that the fight's supposed to happen.
Wow.
We have time. We have over a month.
Okay. It's been so long. It's just so weird to see him.
Yeah, and remember that he pulled out against Verdum. They were supposed to have a rematch. He pulled out, I think, a week before the fight. So it's not like once you're a certain day, a certain amount of days into the fight week that it's all good. I mean, Cain's been known to do this last minute as well.
Oh, all right. Cool, man.
Yeah, I guess I'm on the same boat. Cool, man. We'll see. Cool story, bro.
Right?
Cool story, bro. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I think that kind of covers the MMA news. We wanted to talk about this isn't exactly a news story, just a topic that came up in Rina and I's feed that we were kind of ranting about, that we just find so ridiculous and so, at least to me, hysterical, but it definitely is ridiculous. So for all of you guys that don't know, there's been this phenomenon happening lately. People have made up this term called digital blackface, which is people being upset of non-black people using black expressions in their memes and gifs, and this has been called digital blackface, and some people look down upon it. So I came across this tweet, and this is I honestly thought this was just, I had heard about this before, but I thought it was people just trolling or people just kind of having a joke, but it seems like some people are actually serious about this. So this person is called Ada Powers on Twitter. Hey, extremely online white folks. In 2019, let's challenge ourselves not to use GIF reacts featuring black folks. It may seem small compared to the anti-racist work we should already be doing, but it's a real way that blackface and appropriation can show up in our personal brands. I don't even know where to start with this, Reen. Please say what you told me earlier, because when you told me this, I couldn't believe it.
Which part?
About you seeing this coming.
Well, yeah. I do use a lot of, GIFs or memes or whatever to like express myself. And, I use a lot of the Real Housewives. I'm going to admit it, man. I have a fascination with Real Housewives of Atlanta. I love that show. So I always would go with that because I watch the show. I know these ladies. I've seen their facial expressions, outside of the whole social media world. But when I tried to use it one time, it did run across my mind that maybe somebody's going to say something to me because I'm not black. I shouldn't be using this. And then here you are talking about this digital blackface, really? I mean,
Here's the
I
thing.
shouldn't be surprised, right?
I mean, I'm still surprised. Like I said, I've seen all kinds of crazy shit online, and somehow this still surprises me because it's so out there. And people gotta understand, blackface was a real thing and extremely offensive, and no pun intended. It was really dark. You know, it it was so racist, so wrong, and just a bad time in history for black people in this country. But this digital blackface shit, I don't. I mean, I think it shows some kind of appreciation that we just think black people are funny and that you know, they emote better than others. I don't know what it's used, but I've used gifs with white people, with black people, and I've never thought twice about it, like that this is appropriate or not. It's just whatever I think is most fitting or most funny.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the reason why I just use whatever, or, that's the way I express myself. But just this day and age, it's like, okay, somebody might say something, to me.
I'm
Because
I'm
people are so sensitive, I'm just like, it's going to happen. And it did. It's happening right now. There's an article on it too.
I'm sure there's actual black people who feel this way, but in my heart of hearts, I feel like it's majority like very sensitive woke white people who want to be offended for others. I don't see how any rational person could look at a GIF and be offended of just someone, you know. Like
Yeah.
one of my favorite GIFs of all time. It can be to the most ridiculous thing or the most appropriate thing, but one of my favorite GIFs of all time is, I don't know where it came from, but that GIF with the black kid, it looks like it was just a battle rap. He does like that roast, and then there's like those kids like running across the screen with like their hands in their face, like, oh, that's like one of my favorite GIFs of all time.
Oh, yeah, that one's a good one too.
Yeah, and because it's so appropriate I've used it in ridiculous situations, or it's just. But every time I see it, I always laugh, even if I don't think the tweet or whatever was funny. Just seeing that reaction always makes me laugh. And come on, man, don't take that away from us. And maybe it's just these like this person on Twitter in particular. Maybe she's saying it to her friends and who whatever white people she hangs out with, and maybe she's saying it directly to white people. But as a minority, I think I have the right to use it as just as anybody. I think white people should use them too. But fuck it, if you're sensitive about it, I get it. But I'm not giving up my black gifts, man.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Why do we have to make everything an issue and continue to segregate, and separate each other? Like, why? I don't
Yeah.
understand it. I mean, it's a form of expression using these gifs and memes and whatever. It's funny. And sorry if, like, white people aren't funny.
If you go far enough with this, if you go far enough with this, I mean that is exactly what it comes down to, is that it turns into segregation. It's like, these are our gifts, don't use them. You stay with yours, whitey or Asian or Mexican or whatever the fuck you want. Like, just stay with your own. And like, not to get too deep into this, but I've always had a problem with it when people go down this route, because I've always seen it as just that. It's like, you're going too far with this, and this is the end result. And like, one of my heroes is Bruce Lee, and it's not because just because I like fighting or martial arts or anything like that. I love Bruce Lee because he was a victim of discrimination. He's half white. He's part white for sure. I don't know if he's half white, but he was part white, and a lot of people hated on him as a kid for that, because he wasn't a proper Asian. He had this white blood in him. Some people didn't even think he should learn martial arts because of his white background. And when he came here to the States, a lot of the Asian martial artists didn't like that he was teaching non-Asians the the their martial arts. And to him, it's like, well, anyone that wants to learn about this should learn about this. And he literally, according to legend, he fought for his right to teach his martial arts to other races. So things like that, I'm like, all right, if you want to go far enough with this, stay with your own kind. It's like, well, I would have never been able to train Muay Thai because I'm not Thai. I wouldn't, I shouldn't listen to rap music because I'm not black. I shouldn't eat pizza because I'm not Italian. Like, it's just you keep going down that way. It's like life just becomes so boring and yes, segregated and racist.
Yeah, it seems like we're going backwards constantly. Like everything is it's so sensitive. Everybody's just offended so easily. Everybody needs to have a participation award. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I as much as I may make inappropriate comments and say names or whatever, I think that our biggest strength, especially in this country, in America, is that there's so many different people here, and we can mix with one another, whether it's to trading, food recipes, listening to each other's music, uh, you know, actual mixing of the blood, dating, marrying someone outside of your race, having mixed kids. I think all that shit's beautiful, but some people are seeing it as an insult to their culture, and I can never have enough pride in my culture to, shun others from it. I think the coolest thing about culture is that you can share it, but I don't know. I just don't get this. I don't get this, and I honestly I think it's dangerous.
I think so too.
People take it too far. I didn't want. This was just a funny, stupid thing that came up, but there is, I guess, real ramifications. Like I said, if you go far enough with it, we should just stop it while we're ahead. I think.
Yeah, I mean, white people, step up your game then. Put more gifs and like memes out, man. Like, come on, step up your game. Be more expressive.
Be more expressive.
Yeah, man. Don't sit on your high horse thinking you're like hot shit. Be you. That's what it seems like everybody else is doing, right?
Yeah.
That's what I feel about it. Like it just pisses me off. Like, come on, man. I'm mixed, so what am I gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people like you shouldn't exist, man.
Right?
Come
on.
I'm just as a side note, a few months ago, I watched Black Klansman, and I learned the word miscegenation, which sounded really evil and weird and wrong. They said it in the beginning of that movie. Like, Jesus, what is that? And I looked it up, and all it means is the mixing of races. And I'm like, oh, so there's an actual word for that. That's cool. And I've been trying to use it as much as possible now. And I think especially because it sounds bad. It's like, what are you talking about, man? People that may not know what that means. But I love it because, like I said, that's I think what's great about this country is that we can all. There's no typical looking American. As much as you want to put some, I don't know, blonde hair, blue eyed white girl on the cover of magazines or whatever, that's not the typical American,
No, sir. I mean, Cubans are like blue-eyed, blonde hair.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at Canelo.
Right. Yeah.
That's full-blown Mexican, barely knows any English, and he looks like he should be living in Boston somewhere.
Yeah. So, I mean, come on, stop dividing us, or trying to pick on something and run with it and make it an issue. Just stop, man.
I think that's a good way to end it there. Just stop, man.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we'll call it a night.
Because I can keep going with this one.
I know. Oh yeah, we can. It's like I said, it's a joke, but at the same time, it's not. It can be a serious issue.
Yep. Yes, sir. So okay, I'll stop.
It's okay. So that's our show, episode 10 in the books. As always, like, subscribe, leave us a rating on iTunes. Everyone always says that. I forget that can be helpful. Leave us a rating on iTunes. Subscribe. We're basically everywhere podcasts are available. Give the Instagram and Twitter account a follow at iFox with Juice. I'm at Juice_MMA. Reen's at Fox with you. And that's it for now. So we get some fights next weekend. We'll see you there with our preview, a few other topics, and looks like we'll be ready to go as usual in a few days. So,
Yay! Fight talk!
Yeah, real fights, not all the speculative bullshit that may not come to fruition because Jon Jones is gonna piss hot, or Woodley's gonna get hurt, or Mackenzie's gonna blow weight. This podcast could be obsolete in a few weeks, but at least we had to talk about something, so here we are.
Yes, sir. I like it. It was fun.
We got to keep it rolling. So thank you guys as always. We'll catch you guys next week. See ya.
Bye.